What's going on, guys? This is Forrest with the Built on Blue Collar podcast. This is officially our very first episode, and we just got this studio set up, and we're kind of excited to use it. We never expected our first episode to have this many people in it, but we have 4 good guys here, good operators, foreman, superintendent in the Dallas area. They've been a crew together for quite some time. We've got some drinks out here. We are going to pour ourselves some drinks and have a good time and just sit and talk about construction. So the whole point of this podcast, with it being our first podcast, I kind of want to put a disclaimer out there that if you are listening to this podcast because you expect it to be a politically correct podcast or sensitive to people's feelings, it's probably not that podcast. That's kind of the point, is to bring a podcast where we can talk real construction, where we can bring real operators, real tradesmen in, and just have a good time and talk about the good things, the bad things, and just kind of the whole construction industry, blue-collar industry, mining, oil and gas, whatever it is. That's kind of what we want to capture and kind of just show off the real nitty-gritty blue-collar industry. So with us, we have Matt Cook. We've got Javon. What's your last name, Javon? Jefferson. Jace Young, and Luke Kane. So these guys are all on the same crew here. Who do you guys work for? Or should we even say that? Should we leave that confidential?
We'll leave that alone.
Okay. We'll talk about your past, but we won't talk about the present, I guess.
That's probably best.
So anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start off. I want to get kind of a background on these guys. So you guys have been a crew for a while together. Where did you guys meet? Were you all together at the same company at one time and you guys just stuck together? Or where did you guys start that off? I'll leave Matt.
Surprisingly enough, I met all 3 of these guys on Instagram.
Social media, man. Imagine that. Yeah, that's awesome.
We kind of hooked up in Denver. We were working for Kiewit Central 70 project.
Your favorite employer, right?
Yeah. I actually shot Luke a message and got him up there. He was looking for work, so
nice. Okay.
Got him up there, and then soon other people started following, started getting more and more guys, and Jace and Javon ended up coming over.
Nice. There you go. Jace and Javon have quite the friendship, I do say.
No.
A little gay shit going on over there.
The best of right?
It's brotherly love, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cousinly love.
No.
How many beers have you had already? This is going to turn
2.
This is okay. Not you, but Javon.
Yeah, this is 2.
Okay, all right, sure.
Easy.
But you don't have to get him drunk, though. He's like
he's easy.
Oh man, here we go. Already, see, I thought we were going to get a little further in before this kind of stuff, but no, it's just going right there.
Right off the bat.
Well, so as part of the goal of this podcast, we want to bring in guys to just kind of talk about their experience in the industry. So I'm just going to kind of go around, preschool style and just ask, like, Matt, what's your experience, Luke, and then so forth. So do you want to just give us a rundown at how did you get in construction?
My grandfather, he worked for a company here in Dallas for about 30 years. Some of y'all may know. It's called Mario Sinicola and Sons.
Okay, nice.
So he worked there for 28 to 30 years. I'm not exactly sure, but I used to go to work with him on the weekends, just kind of hanging out. I was always a sucker for Tonka shit, Tonka toys, right?
Yeah.
Every little boy's dream. So I went there on the weekends, kind of got started into that. When I turned 16, they were legally allowed to hire me, so I just started running off-road water trucks, stuff like that, just kind of learning the basics of everything, flagging, labor, shit. Like, I started from the bottom.
There you go, yeah. So no college education,
no.
Just kind of dove right into it. That's kind of, a lot of people in this industry just kind of left high school or, maybe even dropped out of high school and went right into the industry. And they're, I think that's part of the cool part about the industry is that you have a lot of successful people in the industry, and it's one of those industries that you don't need a college education to really be successful. So that's kind of neat. I've always thought that was cool. But so you worked at Sinicola, and then from there, where did you go?
I worked for Lane. Did a big project there on 35. It's actually a JV project, Archer Western, Granite, and Lane. But kind of went from there, kind of moved over, did a couple jobs for Lane, and ended up leaving there and went straight to Kiewit after that for the Midtown project on 183.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So what about you? We'll jump over to Luke. How did you get into the industry, and kind of where is your path led you till now?
Kind of just like Matt's. My dad's done it all his life, so I decided to go with him on the weekends and stuff, and it just
Kind of fell in love with it. Kind of
turned
stuck.
out to be what I decided I loved.
Now you and I were talking about this a little bit last night. We went out and kind of just chatted, and you really have a love for the industry. It's something that you've got a passion for. And was that always the case? Did you always have the passion for the industry, or did you have to kind of acquire that after so many years in the industry?
No, I did. I loved it ever since I was as young as I can remember. I mean, digging holes in the yard as a kid, and going to work with my dad and stuff like that. It's kind of just been what I knew I wanted to do and spend my life doing.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, and now you guys are here. So, Jace, what about you? He's a native Hawaiian, right?
Yeah, from Hawaii. Same like Luke and Matt. My dad did construction. Built model cedar homes, and I remember used to skip school just to go work with him. Help out and whatnot. We had a little come out to a PC-55 at home. We used to dig up holes in the backyard.
Nice.
And my love for equipment came from there. Just right after high school, joined the Army, and then got back. Went to a small little civil company, BC Construction, back at home. And from there, I just started in the ground labor, operator, foreman. Ran the pipe crew, the civil crew. The paving crew and whatnot.
You did all that in Hawaii?
Yes,
Okay.
in Hawaii. And from there, I wanted to run the bigger shit, so we went to Turner Mining, of course, Turner Mining, and then left there after some unfortunate events, and went to Southland out in Dallas, and that's when I hit up Matt to go work at Kiewit.
Yeah.
Went up there, and then...
So had you met Matt before that?
Yeah, I knew Matt actually back when I was in high school.
Okay.
I used to follow him on Instagram. We follow each other.
So you've been on Instagram since the beginning, though.
Instagram even became a thing, man.
I just think, who's this pervert with his beard trying to hit me up on the DMs?
His name on Instagram is Cookie Monster 08.
Kind of scared me.
So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting name. One of those you don't know if you can trust or not. So
It is what it is.
yeah. Well, so all right. So you met up with Matt, sent him an Instagram message, and came down and worked with Kiewit.
Yeah, I worked up there in Kiewit, Denver.
In Denver. Okay. And then Javon, how did you get into meeting? Yeah, we'll switch them. We only have 4 mics, and we have 5 guys sitting here, so we're sharing one. So Javon is the goofball of the group, okay? So don't be surprised if he says some weird stuff. But
All right, yeah, so.
I might hear some moaning in the background.
let's not get too weird, okay? This is going to go out to all the public and everybody on Instagram and YouTube and even LinkedIn. Imagine that. It is going to be.
Try to hold it back a little bit, Javon. Right. We don't want to scare everyone.
All right, so where do I start? I'm built different, I didn't start off in the construction industry with my father and all that good stuff. Right after high school, I ended up joining the Army. Me and Jace.
And that's where it really messed you up? Is that what?
Jace did. I met
okay.
Jace.
I met
Jace in high school.
That's
what messed me up.
Okay.
Yeah, so I met Jace in high school, and then he is obviously older, so he graduated first. He ended up joining the Army, and then I followed shortly after. And, and then after that.
So, wait, pause. You're from Hawaii?
Yes.
Okay. So we got 2 native Hawaiians here.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
He's not native.
Not native. Uh-oh.
I was born
let's
in
make
Ohio.
Born in Ohio.
Yeah, Akron.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's as far away from Hawaii, culturally as you can get, man.
Yes, that was. I ended up going also to work for Turner. I was influenced by Jace's Instagram posts and whatnot.
Yeah.
I went out there, ran a haul truck for a little bit, and then went out to another site in California and got to run a D8 in the dump. And ultimately, I followed Jace to Southland, and then he also pulled me on Kiewit, where I became one of the best operators out there. I don't know why these guys are laughing. They know it's true. 0 incidents, 0 accidents.
There you go.
How is your guy?
Don't get me started.
And here
I got a write-up book It has your entire name through it.
I got one too.
And here we are. I'm still the best operator out there. Need a loader hand?
So
Call it your man.
we'll scratch the guy that won the Con Expo operator world, champ. We'll just scratch his name off and put Javon.
Yeah,
That's what
I'm
we'll
next up. I'm next in line.
do. Yeah.
Right out the
Next
bud.
one. So if Caterpillar or Con Expo is listening to this, Javon Jefferson
Yeah.
wants to be
At
in that.
me.
What is it? 2022 is the next.
No, I want
Oh,
to be. I want to be
23.
this.
23. Okay.
Yeah, I want to be
I can't
this
keep
year,
the year
next
straight,
year,
man.
and the year after that.
I already bought my tickets.
Did you to fly out there? Or?
Yeah, they already bought my tickets for me to come out there.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Did they pay for yours?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hotel, flights, room and board, all that.
And all the
Breakfast.
gambling and booze, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Women,
Oh no.
all paid for.
All right. Oh man. All right. Turn the mic away from him. Get
All
that
right.
out of here.
All right. See you
All right,
guys.
you're done. You're done.
No.
Cut
All
off.
right. So there's kind of been a driving theme here, which is interesting because this is kind of one of the topics I wanted to cover, but was social media. So social media nowadays has become more of a tool for businesses than it has been for like a social call, right? Back 5-10 years ago, Facebook, Instagram, let's just go back to MySpace, okay, the hideous MySpace days. It was mainly just social, to keep up with your friends and, just meet people. Nowadays, it's become such an amazing tool to connect with coworkers, to connect with companies, and that kind of thing. I mean, what are some of the benefits? I know we talked about some companies out there that have really bad social media presence and might preach things that they shouldn't, I guess, because that's not what they're actually doing in real life. But how can social media benefit a company? What have you guys seen social media benefit you guys? Obviously, it got you guys together, but overall, what's the benefit to social media with companies and personal?
I'd probably say like getting similar people with the same drive, the same heart that you have. Like all these guys that I met through social media, they all feel the same way about the construction and the civil industry as I do. So we're very close in that aspect, and that's what pulled us together. And if companies have, an Instagram or whatever, and they preach what they want, it's going to draw people in that fit them, right? Like it just works out.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that, like, with Eagle Eye, we try to preach to our clients and our partners is kind of the way that we can differentiate them from their competition is by showing their values and their culture through social media, not to look too fake, but to be realistic about construction. Because in reality, we don't need everybody to join the construction industry. It's not meant. The construction industry, people aren't built for it. Javon's built different apparently, but
Built different.
yeah. But so that it's not built for everybody. And we had this talk last night too, where we both had to fire people that just weren't cut out for it, and it's because something attracted them to the industry, maybe through social media or something looked cool,
Or prison.
or there you go, or prison. That has happened. But it brings people to the industry not really knowing how hard the industry is and that you actually have to work. And so what we try to do is we try to show off the reality, and that's kind of the point of this podcast too, is to show off the reality in the construction industry and how it is a tough place to work. You're not going to just go out there and sit in a dozer, day one and run it in air conditioning and not get out and use GPS or talk to the grade, control guys or, scrape off some tracks or whatever. It's still hard. And I think if you can show that off as a company that it's still a hard job, but that you guys have some extreme pride in it, then it can attract the right kind of people and not just attract everybody. And I think some social media accounts have attracted everybody, and they haven't attracted the right kind of people.
Yeah, some just
failing.
throw it out there, and they're like, hey, well, we want the young crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, everybody from high school, every little 18, 19-year-old fucking kid's going to come out here, and they're going to put their application in, and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to take you, and I'm going to fucking train you, and I'm going to do this, and you're going to be the best guy I ever had. Well, I've seen guys that have been doing this 10, 15 years, and they're okay. And I've seen some young guys come in, and they've been doing it 2 years, and the guy that's been doing it 2 years is 100 times better than the guy that's been doing it 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people have it, some people don't.
Yep.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, some people are really good. They can just hop in any machine and it just feels natural. I think it's almost like finding, the right pistol or the right gun to carry. What feels natural to you? What are you going to carry? What are you going to, some people have a knack for just hopping in equipment and working. And it doesn't matter if they've been in that industry for no time at all. They're just naturals at it.
Well, and that's another thing is, the biggest problem about today, my generation especially, is that, a lot of folks grew up, after me and whatnot. They feel like a lot of this stuff is, should be given to them.
Exactly.
Like, especially back at Turner, we had guys they have a high turnover rate, right?
Yeah.
So we had guys coming in that worked at their, the mom and pop construction company that ran a little mini or ran a little skid steer.
Yeah.
And they would come there day one and say, hey, I can run that. You did bug you.
They have no clue how to
No
run
clue.
it. Yeah.
And then the moment we give them the shot, they're upside down.
Yeah.
Or,
Well, and then the bad thing is they probably wouldn't take that opportunity to say, hey guys, I'm wrong. I don't know this. Teach me. They probably wanted to hide the fact that they didn't know what they were doing. And that causes more problems. And one of the VPs in one of my old companies that I got along with for a little bit and then it went downhill, but he gave a good point is like you've got to know when to ask your team for help. You've got to have the lack of pride to go up and say, hey guys, like I thought I knew this and I don't, like can you teach me how to do that? Because if you hide a problem for the duration of the project, people still notice that it's a problem. And then if you're not asking for help and you're just covering it up, nobody knows that it's a problem until it's too late and they can't fix it at that point. And at that point, you're gone. Like there's no other option. But you hid this problem. I'm sorry, we lost so much money. If this is how you're gonna do things, you're gone. That's how it is.
I mean, that's how it should be. Like, I mean, if you don't know anything, like, you just ask. Like,
Yeah.
Like, there's stuff that we've been in the construction industry for a while. Something that we don't know. Like, we've been introduced to TopCon lately, and they asked Luke. I mean, there's stuff that we don't know. Like, I mean, we've been using Trimble,
Yeah, exactly.
It's new to us, so
Well,
it's easy to ask for, hey, we need help.
Well, and stuff changes every day. I mean, it's not like you're using the same equipment every day. There's an endless amount of options in this industry, and you can't. There's no way you're going to learn all of it in your entire lifetime. You're always going to run into new projects. The project you guys are on today, there's not going to be a single thing about that project that's the same as when you were at Cuba.
Oh, everything about this project is different than the one in Denver. It's different than every other highway project I've ever done in Texas before.
Yep.
Everything is different. All the specs are different. Materials different. Equipment's different. Models are different.
Yep.
Different. Ground conditions. Different inspectors that require certain things. Different companies.
Yeah.
Different inspecting companies.
Well, and regulations change daily. I mean, you think, 10 years working a TxDOT job is not the same as working a TxDOT job nowadays.
No.
And it's funny when you see people that will leave the industry and then they'll come back, they'll be like, oh yeah, I got 15 years of experience in this. Well, how long have you been out of it? Have you been out of it for 5 years? Because you know nothing now. We've got to refresh you on everything.
Because you're now 5 years behind.
Exactly. And because they'll change TxDOT conditions while you're during a project.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, send it back into the city for another review, redo it all, and wait a couple months till we approve it.
I can't tell you how many times we had to go back out and rip up brand new grade, brand new asphalt, brand new concrete that we had just finished 2 months before because they had a change order on it. It's just.
Oh yeah, we found out we made an issue. Well, we're already done building that process.
Yeah.
Tear it back up. It's an issue. Okay.
Doesn't
we were talking about
anymore.
Luke and I were talking about that last night too. Is the amount of money that's wasted because people make mistakes like that. It's ungodly how much money is wasted.
Well, what irritates me, so we just recently got back here to Dallas, right? Well, I did. Midtown Express that we just finished up 3 years ago. There's another company, Weber. It's out there. They started this project right next to ours before we had finished Midtown. The stuff that we were finishing up, I remember finishing these slopes for slope paving and all this other stuff, getting grade done, paving it, barrier set, barrier slip, striped, everything, good to go.
Yeah.
Weber's in there now, tearing it all up for their new project that's going through. But they were there building this project when we were building that one. So why did the state waste all this fucking money doing all of that, paving it all, for a couple years just to rip it out again, it just blows my mind how much money the state wastes on shit like that.
It's just poor planning.
Poor planning, and they have an endless bank account because there's always money coming in.
Yeah.
That's why all the roads here are fucking toll roads now.
Yep. Yeah. And that kind of drives me crazy that it's all toll roads because, like, if you want to get anywhere in a decent time, and even that's been cut down because toll roads are smash full of cars anyway. Mm-hmm. But, like, if you want to get there at any kind of decent time, you have to take a toll road. And it's not, like, cheap. Like, there's a toll on 121 that's, like, $6 for that toll. You pass through, it's $6.
Yeah.
You do that.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, honestly, you do that for a month, you've racked up like $400 or $500 of tolls just driving down one 10-mile road. You know, it's crazy. And then I mean, that's why those roads are maintained well. I mean, that's why the state roads are not maintained that well. And they're always behind. We were talking about that too last night. Is that it seems like highway projects are always they build it just in time to catch up with like 2 years before, and then they've got to redo it to catch up to where they've been. They're never like wide open for the kind of congestion.
No, by the time that the project's done, I mean, the project we're on now is a 5-year job. Mm-hmm. Okay,
that thing is slam packed.
In 5 years from now, it's going to be the exact same.
Exactly.
You're gonna have to expand again.
Yeah. Even if you add 3 lanes to that thing, you're not gonna fit. It's not gonna fit.
Well, to be honest with you, they kind of thought about that the first segment of 635.
Yeah.
I was on that project 8-9 years ago. I was with Senecola and Ferrovial. At the time, it was called Trinity Infrastructure or something, right?
Yeah.
The Spaniards. They ended up putting all the lanes down below and doing the double-decker highway, so that way they could have 4 HOV or toll lanes.
For sure, yeah.
Instead of just the one single that they have the rest of the way. It's just, but that project was also billions of dollars, and we had like 6-7 million yards of fucking cut.
That's insane. Yeah. Senecola. I mean, I don't know how big Senecola was when you were working for them, but I know when I've been in Texas for roughly 7 years now, and they've always been big boys in this area.
They started off in the utility side of things, putting in pipe and RCP 30 years ago, but they are the big boy dirt moving company for sure here in Dallas.
Yeah.
There is not anybody here that competed with them at all for
the size of projects that they're doing. Yeah.
Anything over, for a while they weren't touching anything less than like 1 million yards.
Man.
So, but
I guess if you get that big, you can pick those kind of jobs.
Yeah.
Here
in the last couple of years though, they've really blown up. I know they're not a family-owned company anymore. So they have stockholders and CEOs and all that stuff. So it's probably a better thing for them, but they're blowing up pretty big here.
Yeah. Well, so that's another thing is you guys. It sounds like you guys have all been in like large companies, and I mean maybe the Hawaii companies, were they large companies?
No,
no.
I mean, we had like at the most maybe 50, 60 guys.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Small, family-owned company. Like I remember going in, we had foreman meetings on Fridays, and we'd go to their house.
Yeah.
In their patio, and about 14, 15 of us foremen, just sitting there. You actually get to interact with the owner and his wife.
Eat breakfast and stuff. And
it was really nice. It's,
yeah.
And for me, I think I was blessed with starting off with a company like that because I got to learn from ground up. I got to learn everything from the owner, from his perspective. You know what I mean? So that was pretty nice. But it was a small company, of course.
Yeah.
Nothing like what we're working with now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you look at the small company versus the larger companies that you guys are working with right now, multi-billion-dollar companies, what are the benefits of both? What are the benefits of a small family-owned company, which is kind of my preference, and your typical big dog earthwork civil contractor?
Well, the main thing I see is like, of course, smaller jobs, but also like the equipment that we owned as a company. It was company owned and company brought. We owned it, and we only owned so much. So of course the operators took care of them because if the owner saw that it wasn't taken care of, they'd fire your ass right on the spot.
Yeah, it's their. I mean, it's expensive.
And like a lot of times, like all the companies I've been to so far, like big companies, they got so much equipment and all these operators that come and go that nobody gives a fuck. They'll just go in there, trash it, They don't know because, they haven't worked for a small company where they got fired before from a company that actually cared about
Well, and I think if you're in a small company, and it also goes to what, how you were raised, but you have the mentality that you treat it like it's yours, right? Because that's what's keeping your job. I mean, you're going to get fired if they don't have that piece of equipment and you can't run it, right? So you treat it like it was yours, you maintain it, and I think that's a value that a lot of people, if they just jump right into a large contractor, they don't have because the contractor just hands them over the keys as a young guy and says, go run this for me, and they walk away, and just he learns how to operate it wrong. He learns how to maintain it wrong. He doesn't learn how to maintain it at all in some cases and destroys it. I mean, I don't know if that's what you guys have come across, but
These big companies will give you really bad habits really quick.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is they'll teach you how to cover your ass. I mean, it's a CYA on large jobs. That's what it is. It's just a large CYA on everything. They'll teach you that aspect really well, but I don't think they'll teach you the right methods of how to do your job correctly.
The basics.
Yeah, the basics.
Basics, yep.
And, to take care of stuff and just, I mean, that's what you should learn right off the bat is how to do that. And then you should develop working your way into a larger company, I think.
That's how I think everybody should, do. It's just start us. Everybody hits me up on Instagram and say, hey, how do I get in? I say, hey, go hit up a small company,
Exactly.
Learn the ground, then work your way up.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, because, I remember times when I first started, I'd be running the equipment, and I wasn't, I had some experience, but apparently to the owner, he would come by. He lived 5 minutes from the job.
Yeah.
So he would swing by every morning, and I remember that was my first foreman job, and he would come in there, and he'd grab his hard hat, and he'd fly it at me. And I would, I'm yelling and screaming, I mean, he meant well. I mean, I guess that's how he was raised,
Yeah.
And,
the older mentality, that's all they were raised on was screaming and yelling. And
yeah, I mean, well,
it ain't going to work today, but that's just how, that's how I was taught a lot of times in construction too.
All that yelling and screaming, really paid off because, I learned a lot from that company.
Well, and I would always tell, I had a superintendent that would do the same thing. If you screwed up one thing, it's just nothing but screaming and yelling in your face. And you could either catch somebody at a good spot where they won't yell back or the wrong spot where they're like, all right, I quit, bye. But I used to tell one of my first bosses, I guess it was my second construction job, I used to be like, look, you could yell at me and tell me that I did it wrong, but I promise you I'm going to learn from this, and I'm not going to make that same mistake a second time. And, I mean, as long as you can learn from it and not make it a second time, then, you should always be learning from that stuff. The yelling aspect is something that's got to fade away, but it's something that's how most people nowadays, if you've been in the industry for any kind of period of time, you've run across those kind of leaders that's how they operate.
That's exactly how I was raised. I was raised and taught very old school ways by all the old timers, my grandpa included. And I can't tell you how many times that me and my grandpa were just at each other's throats.
You've got to have thick skin if you work this industry.
Yes.
You have to. And it's not like the yelling and screaming is the best approach to get things done. However, you're going to run into those kind of guys, and you have to be that type of person to take the punches, sit back and say, hey, what can I learn from this person? Because they've got a lot of industry knowledge. If we can't learn from those people, not everybody is a great teacher, and that's okay. You don't have to be a great teacher as long as there's somebody that's learning from you. If you can sit back and you can say, okay, I'm going to learn from this guy regardless of how much he beats me up, there's something you're going to get out of him. Now, there are times where somebody just, they beat you up so much that it's not worth it. The stress isn't worth it in the industry anymore. It's not. So I think there is something to learn from those kind of guys, and there is a time to back away. But
yeah, and out of all the people that yelled and screamed and cussed me up and down because I fucked up, I probably learned the most from those people.
Yeah,
honestly. Yeah. And they're the ones who have made me who I am today.
Yeah,
and how I do things.
Well, so as a superintendent, as a foreman, and you guys are just as capable. What position?
Best operators.
Well, foreman operator too.
Yeah, foreman operator. I mean, you guys are both, pretty much foremen as well. So, as a person that's
don't give him that kind of confidence.
All right, I won't. Let's not knock him off his pedestal. So anyway, as people that are in that position to lead and teach, you've been part of the yelling and screaming. How do you guys look at teaching? You can pop that a little bit faster if you like. There you go. How do you guys want to go across? You've seen the yelling and the screaming aspect. Obviously, sometimes you can lose your temper too. Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Especially if there's that one really retarded guy that just keeps making the same mistake. It just happens, you know, and sometimes you just lose your cool. But what have you found the best teaching methods?
I always, after I got my ass chewed out and yelled at, you know, I'm yelling back. I went back and sat in my piece of equipment. I thought, man, I fucked up. Why did I fuck up, and how did I fuck up, and how am I not going to do this again? And it got old, right? Yeah. You learn real quick. Hey, dude, I really don't want to get my fucking ass chewed out today. Yeah. So I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it the way they want me to. Yeah. And once you do it that way, you're like, holy shit, this is a better way. Yeah. Maybe he was right. You know? But, you know, growing up, I had those asshole bosses, asshole superintendents, and I always told myself, hey, if I ever become a foreman, if I ever become a superintendent, a manager, whatever, I want to be the boss that I wish I had growing up. Yeah. And whenever I first got into the industry. So you can ask these guys, they've probably seen me yell maybe once or twice, but it wasn't at any of them. It was at some other fucking dumbass, right? Yeah. But I don't know. I try to have a cool head and go into something, you know, cool-headed and collective, and, you know, just treat people right, treat people with respect. Absolutely. And if they fuck up, obviously let them know, but tell them how to not do it that way. How to tell them show them the correct way to do something. That way they're not just sitting out there, you know, making a mess or tearing equipment up or digging over utilities, and, you know, they're going to end up getting themselves hurt or killed or somebody else.
Well, and I think you can tell somebody's character real fast if you tell them calmly but firmly. You screwed up. We're really disappointed that you did this because this was a stupid mistake, and here's how you can fix it. You can tell somebody's character on how they react to you after that point. You either have the character that's going to sit back and say, you're right, like, let me learn about this, or they're going to just shake their, and mumble under their breath and walk away, and that's a real easy indication to find out if they're going to stay around for a while. Because they don't have the humility, or they do have the humility to step back and acknowledge it.
Yeah. They got to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I like to take fuck-ups and turn them into learning opportunities. Yeah. Always.
Yeah. Hopefully correct them before they get to that point. But, yeah, I mean, if it gets to the point where it is a mess up, you know, you either lost money, you lost time, or, you know, there could have been an injury or something like that. There's never going to be somebody in the field that knows every safety rule. I don't give a crap how much you study OSHA or MSHA or whatever. Those regulations change daily. They're changing all the time. And so it's kind of funny that there are people that will act like they know it all in safety, but, you know, take the opportunity to teach people, because not everybody knows, you know, and it's kind of your responsibility as a leader in the industry to kind of go and teach those guys.
Yep. Yeah. I've actually taught safety people a time or two. They come out, you know, bitching, yelling, screaming, "Oh, you're doing this. This isn't right." Yes, it is.
It is right.
I've also been on the other side where I was doing something wrong, and they pointed out to me, and I'm like, no bullshit. Well, they showed me, and it's right there in the book, in the rules, and
you just didn't know. You had never come across that before.
But guess what? I know now, and I won't ever make that mistake.
Exactly. Well, and I think it's good to catch those things like before they happen, of course. And that's kind of why we have safety people. But we were even talking about this. I hate to keep saying that, but we talked about like everything that we're talking about right now last night. But I think one group in construction that really needs to learn how to teach people better is the safety guys. Because there are a good group of safety guys that will just do that whole yelling and screaming. And if you go yelling and screaming at a foreman or a superintendent on a job site, that's an easy way to get blown up and just make the situation worse. And I think if you can go in there and respectfully talk to them and kind of teach them.
Well, you kind of get to look at it like this. I mean, if you're a safety person over a project or over these certain crews and they're doing something wrong, it's your fault because you didn't teach them.
It's your responsibility to teach your guys.
It's your responsibility to teach them, to watch them to make sure they're doing stuff right, they're doing stuff safe.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I don't think they should go screaming at it. They should take that opportunity to say, hey, like, I noticed this. We're not able to do that anymore, and here's why. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Or what is the reason for you doing it like this?
Yeah,
Explain it to me.
Because there are times where your actions you can trump an OSHA rule, I guess you could say, if there's a bigger threat. So that's what OSHA says is as long as there's a bigger threat that you're trying to provide, do something safer, you're allowed to step away from such and such.
Right.
And do it like this if you think that's
whichever rule is the biggest concern,
yeah,
you can justify stepping away and doing it something differently if it helps out.
If it's more safe doing it this way and it breaks an OSHA law, technically, yeah, you're allowed to do that because you're the competent person on the job site. And that's a huge deal. I think, at least in my general contracting experience, if I would tell subcontractors all the time, like, hey, we can't do that because, like, nobody else is the competent person on the site but me.
You're responsible.
You'll go to jail. I'll go to jail. It's not like they're going to slap our hand with a $5,000 fine and that's it. Like, we're going to be sitting in court for 4 months. They're going to decide you did this on purpose. You're going to jail.
Yep. You were
there. A lot of people
you were
don't
watching these guys. You didn't say, "Hey, stop doing that."
Exactly.
Guess what? We're gonna throw you in jail for a couple of years for
because you
manslaughter or negligence. And
yeah.
People don't understand and realize that these people in construction industry and civil industry like this that are the competent person, are the foreman, are the superintendent. They are responsible for everybody below them. So if one person, fucks up and gets themselves killed, guess who's at fault? The foreman, the superintendent, the manager.
Person. Yep.
Those guys are the guys that are going to go to court. They're the ones that's going to go to jail. Yep. And it's not, the guy over here in the dozer.
Yeah.
Yep. The crew is a direct reflection on their leadership, and I got that background experience from the military, which we're lucky. We got to see the whole leadership, and to tell you the truth, the military ain't perfect, but you want to base leadership and all that chain of command and whatnot. I mean, the military is a perfect way to go. My days at Kiewit, I kind of being a leader is I kind of base it off the military. Little squads, small little crews. And we were lucky that me and Luke we had apprentices. We got to teach them what we knew. And the other guys on our crew got to teach them,
Mm-hmm.
and then we just, we all put our heads together and, come up with a good game plan and we attack it, and if it didn't work out, it didn't work out, that's on me or, us for, making a bad decision.
Well, and that's good that you guys have that call. I mean, you guys can make that call and say, okay, this is what I see the right decision. Mm-hmm. And then you're able to take responsibility. If it goes right, you get to praise the crew for it.
Right.
That's what. Okay, so I've always found this interesting is that, like, a good leader will always give his crew all of the credit and take all the blame.
Yep. It's like in the military, like how we always would let our guys eat first and we eat last. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's like my guys, I know I'd buy them, like, they do a good job. I mean, we did barrier a lot. We set a lot of barrier. Hey, I buy you guys lunch,
Hell yeah.
Out of my own pocket, not Kiewit's pocket, my pocket.
Yeah.
So.
Because they're your guys. Wherever you go, they're going to remember you. They're going to follow you. And a lot of times that's how it goes in the construction industry is crews follow their leaders.
Like, you follow
this
Matt.
Crew. That's how you guys all got down here. I thought that was always kind of interesting. That's kind of why I was, like, excited to have you guys on the podcast. And especially for the first episode, it's kind of cool. I don't think I'll ever have this many people on unless I have all you guys back again. But it's kind of neat to have, a crew that has done that and kind of stuck together. And it's a brotherhood that is really neat. And that you won't get in any other industry, I don't think. No. Blue collar industry is the only place you'll find that. Oil and gas.
Unless you're in the military.
But as an industry, this is the only place that you're going to find it other than the military. I mean, going in the military is probably even more so, more important.
At work, we all work together. We're all kind of a tight knit group. We're family, but we bullshit at work. We also get shit done. Yeah. But outside of work, we all hang out. We all go drink beer. We all go party. We all go play Top Golf. We're all friends outside of work.
Anybody that says that you can't mix business and personal, they're just stupid.
Yeah.
Because that's in my opinion, that's how you create such a good group, because you can have those arguments with each other and you can have the, the good times together, and you're still going to stay brothers. Like, it's just how it is. You're if you if you guys got in bad times, you stick through it together. And I think that's what, having pride in your craft and the brotherhood and sisterhood and the industry is, really cool. So.
That's a pretty good point. I mean, people don't see the family and the close-knit groups of all people that do this stuff.
Yeah.
They only see us when we're at work.
Yeah.
They don't see what it's like outside of work. And, I've traveled all over the country doing this shit now. And it's like, I've grown closer with these guys and everybody that I work with. And I feel like my own family sometimes.
Honestly. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
Like, Turner was the same way. I mean, like, they stuffed us, especially like in California, there was, 4 guys to an apartment. Those 4 guys, like, we grew close. Like, Javon, I brought him on board, and he moved into the room with us.
Yeah.
I had Austin Lavelle and, Josh White, and, we're good friends till today.
Yeah.
And, like, Austin, he moved out. He's out here right now. His first day was
Last night.
Yeah, last night.
Is he working with you guys?
He's on night shift, though.
There you
But,
go.
I mean, we stayed, good friends, and, with that brotherhood, is that bond, it's stuck. And,
Well, because you can go through the company bullcrap, and you can also go through the company good times together and be able to.
We're at work at the bullshit, and then we get back to the house. It's just, it's like almost husband and wife almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, right?
We're sleeping busy each other. Like, man, this fucking shit's bullshit. We let out their steam at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's cool though is that they'll actually listen to it because they know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and they know what we're talking about. So it's that's the brotherhood that that got us through the hard times at work.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Well, and I think that's cool because then I'm sure you guys had wins together, and you guys were like, man, that was a lot of tough work, but man, are we proud of the work that we put into that project?
Yep.
Yeah.
Many times like that, we'd have weekend shutdowns, demos, bridge demos. I can't tell you how many bridges we demoed up there in Denver, and did weekend shutdowns for ramps. And at the end of the weekend, we're like, holy shit, we fucking kicked ass, man. Because I guarantee you, there's not another crew out there that could have done what we did that weekend.
And that's cool because you can look back and say that there's not somebody else out there that would have done what we did.
Yep. And when you can give it back to the client, you have till Monday morning 5 a.m. When you can give it back to them at 10 a.m. Sunday morning, and they open up, they're like, okay, these guys can actually get this shit done.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's one of the most rewarding things is to be able to surprise the people that you're working for, even if you're just a co-worker in the company and you're working for the company. It's still really beneficial to just provide the client with something that they're proud of. Mm-hmm. And I had going through the GC world, there were a lot of people in there that gave it all and they loved that. And there were a lot of people that just they're just working for a paycheck, right? And the architects, the engineers, and the ownership could all tell when you could sit back and you could do something really well and provide it better quality and in a faster timeline and actually give some effort. It makes a lot of people complain about engineers and architects. I complain a ton about engineers and architects. The second you can sit back and you can't kind of see how you can make all the pieces fit and work. Mm-hmm. Some architects and engineers just won't ever get that, but if you can coordinate with those guys and provide something for the owner, it's super satisfying to sit back and just be like, we did this way faster, better quality, and just to see their face light up.
Yep.
That's awesome.
We had a lot of engineers too that we had, and they would always give us certain tools or certain plans that they thought that we needed, and they'd hand us a stack of drawings that was 2 inches thick.
Yeah.
We'd be sitting in our meetings they'd give us a plan for Jace or Luke, and I'm skimming through it and I'm ripping this out and I'm ripping that out, and before you know it, you got half the paper there, and it's like, well, why'd you rip all this out?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on that. It's fucking bullshit that we don't fucking need.
It's not going to work.
We don't need this. We don't give 2 fucks about this over here. Throw it at fucking recycling. Thanks for killing all the fucking trees, but we don't need it.
Yeah, honestly though, yeah. Well, but hopefully that makes them better designing it next time.
And, after, a couple weeks, we would bring them out in the field and we would show them, look, this is the drawings that we need, and this is why. And this is how we're going to do it. And then afterwards, they're like, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You know, once we brought the engineers out of the office, a lot of them, they just sit in the office.
They've never had a field experience.
No.
Never.
They went straight from college into the office.
Yep. You'd get these big companies like Kiewit, and people see the name Kiewit. They're like, they think, oh my God.
They know what they're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
But they do exactly that. They'll take people fresh out of school or whatever and throw them in a position that they don't have a clue what the hell they're doing.
Well, and I always thought that was
wolves.
funny because not going and graduating, I don't have a college degree. I started in construction and I worked my way up. And being in like a project engineer office position for years, and then guys coming straight out of college going right into that same position, it was crazy how much more knowledgeable about construction that they didn't know anything. They'd never been in the field. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy because then I'd be training those guys, and it's like they're probably making more money than I am because they got a degree. But at the same time, it's just funny. I'm glad that I went that route because you get the field experience. You get to learn all that.
We had the last boss that we had there in Denver. He is an engineer by trade, right? He went to school, did everything right, came out as an engineer, and then they moved him into a superintendent position like after a year. I mean, how many people do you know that goes straight into being a superintendent after 1 year?
Never heard of it.
Right? But he worked there, did drainage and whatever else they asked of him for like a year. They moved him to night shift to help the civil guys, us. And he's supposedly going to be my boss. It's going to come in and save the world, right?
Oh, no.
But, yeah, we ended up having a lot of problems out of that. Every night, every shift, it's like we're having to teach the boss how to do the work.
Yeah, that's
the
an
foremen
issue.
are out there teaching the boss.
Did he at least acknowledge it, or was he
did it first.
on a power trip?
He did it first, and after a while, he got tired of us fucking bitching and telling him that he was wrong, and he just, this is how we're going to do it.
Well, and I think some of that stems from, like, leadership above.
Yeah.
Because the leadership above says, we put you in this position to run these guys. You're the head guy in charge. Be the head guy in charge.
Yep.
And
That's
sometimes
a big push.
Yeah, and sometimes that backfires because sometimes the superintendent or the leader, they might be good at leading guys, but they don't know the technical aspect to the trade. So the best thing you can do at that point is use your guys to the best ability that you know your guys can perform, listen to them, take their advice, and win as a team.
Listen to the people below you. They're the guys that are out in the field. They're the guys that have the hands-on experience. They're the ones out here building the work.
Yeah.
You're not.
And there's a lot of times where, like, there's a greater plan that maybe the operators and stuff, they don't know. And you've got to get this done that nobody else knows. But at the same time, it's if you don't listen to your guys, you're going to have a failure on the project every time. Yep. Regardless if you know everything or not, if you know more than your guys or not, if you can't coordinate and use their advice and use their skill set, you're going to fail on the project every time.
Yep. I mean, I've walked up to different crews before, Luke, Jace, and they're doing something totally different than what we talked about in our pre-shift meeting, right?
Yeah.
I ask them, hey, like, what's going on? Why are we doing it this way? Not just yell, kick, and scream. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're fucking up. You're not doing what I told you to do.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Stuff changes in the field. Okay.
It does. Yeah.
So they changed. Stuff changed. They made a decision, and they're running with it.
And you should be proud, and I'm sure you are proud at your guys doing that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bad mentality in the construction industry too, that, like, people in leadership positions, they feel like if their guys overstep them and it makes them look bad as a leader. Mm-hmm. But in reality, this has driven me crazy, because if your guys that are below you make better decisions than you're able to, it's a good reflection on you and your teaching. Mm-hmm. And a lot of guys, they take that as like, oh, they're making me look bad because they're doing it better than I would have.
That's exactly what Jay said a minute ago. Everybody below you is a direct reflection on their
Exactly.
leadership.
Yeah. So if you win as a team, you win as a team.
Right.
Like, if you lose, it's because of the leadership. Yep. And that's just it starts at the top, and it kills me because that was one of the biggest things that I had issues with in construction was, like, there were times that I thought I couldn't even open my mouth. I know something's going to be terribly wrong, but I can't open my mouth because I know that I've been shredded so many times because, oh, you're too young to know anything about construction. Yeah. There's no possible way you have the experience to know that. And there's been times I've been sitting in owners' meetings, and I've gone to say something, and And I stopped, and I was like, I sat back, and my team just kept running because they didn't want me to say anything. They didn't want me to ruin it for them, right? And the architect was like, wait, Forrest, what are you going to say? And I told them, and it was like a major waterproofing issue on the job that I was just going to bypass because my leadership had torn me to shreds before for opening my mouth. And we caught this water issue before we ever installed it, and it was never a problem. But everybody was like, oh, just delete that. Like, that's not going to be a problem. And it could have been a catastrophic issue. Yeah. So it's just weird how leadership is like that. And I think, so talking about all that leadership and stuff, when we talk about construction, coming into construction as a young guy, like we mentioned before, it's not for everybody. You have to have the right mindset. You have to be humble. You have to be willing to work hard. You have to be willing to listen. You get yelled at sometimes because it's just part of the industry. It's not going away anytime soon. It will eventually, but for right now, it's it's a mentality that's built into people that really have a lot of knowledge in the industry. What advice does anybody have to say about young guys coming into the industry that have been looking at this? They might be in high school. Should I go to college? Should I go into the industry? What should I expect?
I don't know. I mean, like Jay said, put an application into small companies, get your feet wet, right?
Yeah.
Kind of step back and take a perspective of the entire company as a whole. You really don't know what you're looking at, but just kind of sit and watch. You'd be surprised on how much you'll learn just by watching and seeing people, how they work and how they do things and why. Ask questions, right? And I mean, you'll learn a lot just by sitting and watching. It's crazy.
I thought this was kind of funny. I don't know why, but I run into people just out in public, and I end up getting in discussions where like we talk about their whole life story and stuff. But there's just this random guy. I don't even remember where it was, but he said, I was really young. I was looking to go into a blue collar trade, and he goes, if you ever want to just learn how to build a car, go to a dealership and just ask to work in the service center sweeping floors for free, and observe everything they do. And I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Sweep floors for free. Just say, hey, I'll come into for a couple of days and I'll clean up the shop behind you guys for free. And just go, and obviously I'm not saying go to work for somebody for free, but I'm just saying that's kind of a neat way of looking at it is, what am I gaining in knowledge rather than a paycheck, right? Mm-hmm. Because your knowledge aspect is going to get you that real paycheck later down the road. There are guys in the industry that know so much about the industry they can just go, I want that much money. Mm-hmm. And people pay it. It's just how it is. And that's, few, but learn as much about the industry at every given moment that you can, I think is an extremely important.
And that goes back to like what I said earlier. Like, I mean, you got to be humble when you come in. Just like, if you're going to come in as a laborer, go in as a laborer. Don't expect to, hop on a machine the first day.
Yeah.
Learn the ground, learn everything there is, ask questions. Don't be ashamed. Don't be scared, Who knows that guy that's, putting that pipe in or, send that manhole or run that hole, they have a lot of information because they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
Just get it all you can, just soak it all in, and, it's going to pay off. Because when you get into that position, like if you did all that groundwork for 2 years or so, you get in that whole position and what that pipe man down there, what he needs and what he needs to, what he's talking about when he's pointing his fingers or, this and that,
Exactly.
So that's what everybody needs to understand is, don't expect, to hop in a freaking piece of equipment first day on the job.
Well, you said something that really struck something with me is don't be scared to ask the questions. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of people in there that think, okay, the industry, it is scream and yell sometimes. Oh, I better just be quiet and observe and stuff. But don't be afraid to ask those questions because more times than not, you can find the grouchiest guy on the job site that'll rip you a new one if you do something wrong. And if you go over there and you ask him questions about your trade, most likely 9 times out of 10, he will sit there and he'll tell you everything he knows.
He'll wind up being your mentor.
Yeah, he'll sit there. He'll talk to you all day.
Yeah, because he loves his trade. He might be 80 years old and in the trade and done it since he was 10. And he will tell you everything he knows about the industry. And that is the most priceless knowledge that you can get that you can't learn in school and in a college. And I'm not saying college is bad. I think college is great, but it was something that I was never great at. And my guidance counselor just told me straight up, Forrest, you're working 40 hours plus going to college. Like, you're already in the industry. you're already doing the job that you want the degree for. Just go do the job. And I was like, you don't want me to spend money here? He's like, no.
And also, I want to say is, you know, don't base, you know, the company on Instagram or social media or anything you guys see, because they will put up, you know, all these pretty pictures, you know, nice D8s, you know, 374s, you know, 470s, 349s, and, you know, you're going to expect it to be like a, you know, like it's the best. You
Running
know
a 374 immediately. Yeah.
But, you know, there's
Never going to have to get out of air-conditioned cab ever.
because they don't get to go and film the 24/7, the stuff behind the scenes, you know, the nitty-gritty stuff, because it does happen, you know. It's I'm not going to bullshit you. It's not, you know, fucking the best thing in the world, you know. There is hard times, you know. Shit gets rough, shit gets fucking hard, and you got to stick through it and get it done.
Sometimes you got to spend a couple minutes in a 140-degree porta-john. It's just how it is.
Yeah. I know guys, I go sit in there just to hide from the job.
I know, honestly. I had a guy that fell asleep in a porta-john on summer in Texas. I don't know how that happens or how you don't lose half your body weight, but, man,
Maybe I need to do that because I'm getting a little weight.
I don't know, but I would rather.
Me and Matt is going to sit
right. Just go sit in.
Let's go sit in the Texas sauna, man.
Yeah.
Texas sun.
Wait till
Texas
it's summertime. Yeah. But I thought that was crazy. Like, how did you not die in there? I thought he was dead. I was like, are you alive? Oh, sorry, I fell asleep. But no, you're right. It's one of those industries, like, don't expect to come in and just have it easy. You know?
Not every day is a good day.
Yeah. When I left Florida to come to Dallas for commercial work. So I was residential, minor commercial. I was framing houses in apartment buildings in Florida, and I moved to Dallas for commercial work. The first 3 activities that I did for like months were pumping crap water in a farm field on a project that was brand new because it was rainy season. And then it went right into summer where I was on a steel decking roof, chipping away puddle welds for the welders. And I don't think I've ever been so sunburnt, that sun reflecting off that roof. And then cleaning anchor bolts for steel that they were flying in with diesel on a hot slab in summer. None of those things were fun at all. Those were they all sucked.
It's never fun.
But it's like now I know, and it's, you know, it does build character, and it's bad to say it like that, but it builds character, but it builds you up for the easy times. You know, you've gone through and you've learned how hard it is. That way you can remember how hard it is for when you're in a position to run those kind of guys. How are you going to treat them? Because you know you've been there.
Yeah. I remember when I first started, you know, I told you I worked from the ground up, right?
Yeah.
When I was flagging, I was out there holding the stop, slow sign, 12 hours a day.
In the hot sun.
In the summer, in Texas, in Fort Worth. And I got so sunburned, dude. It hurt to just sit. It hurt.
And you had to
walk,
go back and do it the next day.
to breathe, to move, to reach over to grab a cold drink of water. It hurt. Yeah. And I had to do it the next day, you know, for 6 days a week. And
but were you happy that you had that experience?
oh, I was. Yeah. Because guess what? It made me who I am today. Yeah. It, like you said, it builds character. Yeah. And it led me to my next position. And because, like I said earlier, I sat there and I was holding that stop and slow sign, stopping traffic, but I was watching these trucks go by. These big, you know, 40-ton Cat 740s and Volvo trucks, and
learning as much about the industry as you can.
Yeah, I was taking it all in. Like, why are these guys doing what they're doing? Why is this guy got his Jake brake on coming down the hill? Oh, you know, it's just there's a lot that you can learn by just sitting and watching. And
it's like how, I mean, Javon, he's pretty new in the industry, and, you know, I mean, we were a security guard before he came here, and, you know, and he went into mining, and then he pretty much just kind of sat back and kind of learned a lot, you know. And
And now he's the best operator.
Nice.
Best damn operator this side of the Mississippi, old son.
Yeah, there you go.
He goes to Kiewit, gets to learn from, you know, Matt, Luke, you know, me. So, I mean, that's pretty good.
Javon, we haven't really heard a lot about you, man. Like, I think we've been kind of like hiding
the microphone.
We've been hiding the mic from him because we're just afraid of what he's going to say. But on the real, advice about new guys coming into the industry. What age did you come into the industry?
I was 23.
Okay.
Yeah, 23. I got out to California, started working for Turner.
Yeah.
Started off in a haul truck, 745 and 845G Volvo, you know.
Yeah.
Beat my ass off for months until I actually got my shot to run a dozer.
Yelling at Javon.
Yeah. Jace went to go. I ran a haul truck for Jace, getting loaded by Jace. Worst home man ever, I'm telling you.
How many times did he make you bounce?
Hey,
Dude.
He's dropping bombs on you, huh?
jump in there and I push the joystick. So
Yeah, he was just hilarious.
YouTube operator.
YouTube
Yeah,
operator.
that's right.
There you go.
Yep, and then, after Cupertino, I finally got my shot on the dozer on the Reading. Ran a dump dozer making stockpiles out of nothing.
Yeah. So advice for people that are coming into the industry as a young guy.
Yeah, the advice is just take your licks until you get your shot, That's pretty much all you can do. Just show that you're willing to learn.
Yeah.
You're willing to work for whatever you're trying to achieve at that point.
Yeah.
You're gonna fuck up, right?
Yeah.
You
You're
fucked up a lot,
gonna fuck up.
right?
You've done it a lot.
I fucked up.
You fucked up a lot.
Well, and here's the thing: is you'll never stop doing that, but you'll learn better ways to correct those.
Better ways to hide it. Like, you fuck up, you just turn and make sure nobody's looking, and you keep on going.
I don't know what happened. I don't know how this happened. I mean, I wasn't even here. I was on lunch break.
Yeah. I was like,
Usually it's everybody. We all got radios at work, so it's a constant shit talking storm all day long, right?
Oh, we saw the stories today.
When
We know about Jace and his love affair for the excavator. Hey, don't go hiding over there.
But anytime Javon gets quiet, he's over there fucking something up. So,
He doesn't want to talk.
yeah, anytime he gets real quiet on the radio, I got to go drive to try to search and find him and figure out what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
no, I just
And you don't
keep
tell him
working
you're driving
hard.
over there.
No.
You got to
Lately,
sneak up.
it's stuck in the mud, the loader, or
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I
like a
really
kid,
made it
man.
out the mud. Like, honestly.
Made it out of the ruts. You got some ruts in life?
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, my loader is the dirtiest loader on that job site.
It's the newest loader too.
It's the newest one.
he won't stay out of the
dirtiest.
mud.
I can't stay out the mud.
It's just something. I mean, if he likes going mudding on
Something
on
about
work.
the mud just draws me back.
Guys, if you can't play in the mud while you're at work, why are you even in this industry?
You ain't having fun. And if your foreman ain't mad at you, you definitely ain't doing something right.
Hey, hey, you want to go play in the mud? That's fine. Just don't get stuck.
I'll work on it.
his silence speaks volumes in this situation.
Yeah, honestly,
I'll fix it. I promise.
I'll fix it.
Yeah, I just hear it.
I don't know what happened today, but it must have been bad.
No, it
I'm
wasn't
kidding.
today. It was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
He got stuck about 2 or 3 times that day.
I've been doing pretty good. Like,
The worst
Since
one,
you got your ass chewed out, huh?
Well, here's the question: if you get stuck, are you able to get yourself back out?
No.
that's a negative ghost rider.
the worst one's at 5 o'clock when we're all just trying to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes like an hour and a half to get him out.
He calls me, Matt, stuck.
Fucked
Okay,
up.
so time out.
Are you fucking kidding me?
What's the worst time you've ever been stuck in a piece of equipment? Let's go around the room.
Ho, ho, ho.
This will be last, and then we'll end it. But yeah, what's the?
Man, I was running an 8 up in Louisville, and we were doing a roadway job for city, smaller roadway job, and underneath the old ground and stuff that we were ripping up, it was an old asphalt
Millings?
milling site
Yeah.
and crushing, and they had put these stockpiles of tailings and stuff out there and just put topsoil on it.
Oh no.
They want us to build a road there, and it's next to a creek, and the creek, obviously, the water's leaching in, and so we went out there, we're clearing, stripping topsoil with the 8, and all of a sudden, it just, the bottom fell out, and I was eye level with the ground
Oh my goodness.
before I freaking knew it. So
That's crazy.
Yep.
It's one of those where, like, you see those pictures on Instagram of like the excavator buried, and you're like, how the hell did that? How do you get in those situations? And then you run into those, and you're like, okay, that happened. That escalated quickly.
that stuff was like quicksand, man. There was like nothing you can do. Once you got into it, you had to just gas it. Just go for it.
Well, and what were you in again?
I was in an 8.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and there was no way getting out of that.
No.
That's the thing is dozers it's hard to get out of.
And so I was the only dozer there at the job. We were just clearing. I had the 8 there. I was running the 8, and we had an old 385. I think it was a 385B.
Good old B series.
Yeah, she was a workhorse. So, but I had to get the 385 out there, and it started to sink. So we had to get a plan B.
Yeah.
Go get some mats, and
Oh no.
yeah, we had to drag the mats out, get the 385 out there, dig the 8 out. And, I took a pretty
how
big
much time
ass
did
chewing
that?
for that.
I'm sure.
I got 2 days off for that one.
Oh, no. Oh, shucks. You mean I've got to go home and drink beer for 2 days?
At one point in time, I got time off, too, and I got my ass chewed out.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
So what about you? Have you gotten stuck real bad before?
Yeah, I almost put a 470 cab in a lake.
Yeah, just ask him to see the picture.
Yeah, I got pictures. It's great.
Oh, man. Okay, so after this, do you have photos of yours?
I don't.
No?
Lost that
You guys
on
have
my
photos of
iPhone
your story?
3G.
The 3G light.
3G, that was back in 08, 09.
Yeah, that one. Was that the one that
high
blew?
school.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to post your photo, Luke, on about. So after this, after you see me post this podcast, you got to post your photo right away.
All right, that's
All
fine.
right.
I guess
All right,
we'll do
deal.
that.
All right. So Jace, what about you?
We was out in Tennessee, out at I forget the site. It was for Vulcan. It was in a 480, and then we were digging out the old slot pond, and I built me a bench. Well, the dozer built me a bench.
Yeah.
And he said it was good. I was like, all right, 10-4, I'm headed there. So I went, tracked up on this motherfucker, and I started loading. And next thing I know, that thing just gave out under me. And the next thing, that mud was like all the way up to my turret. I couldn't move. I'm a big thing about counterweights. Like, I don't like damaging them, but
Yeah.
I had to
Quit
swing
lying.
around, and I had to track out, which I was like, you swing around, and, you get the mud on the counterweight, and, I had to get out that way. But I also did one last week, a couple weeks ago. Matt saw me. I was on a bench. I built it myself, and I was next to a little creek, a little river thing. It was a mud. It was my bad. I thought it was good. I tracked up on it. It felt good. I loaded a couple trucks, and next thing you know, I was fucking sideways, sliding into the river, and I was trying to get out. Try to pull myself out, and I couldn't track anymore. I'm trying to pull, and you can't track. So I was like, I saw Matt in his pickup. I'm like, fuck, he's gonna tease me and fucking give me shit. So I spun around. And of course, McConaughey getting a little mud, but he didn't hurt anything.
I'm sitting over there. God damn it, Jace! What the fuck are you doing, man? Fuck!
So we got a little mud on it, but he didn't scratch it up.
I made him wash it by hand with the
we
water
washed it.
truck.
We got Snapchat footage.
Yeah, now I got a can of paint in the back seat just for him.
Nice. To go on there with like a light paintbrush. You got to sand it down, gloss it.
Yeah.
All right, Javon.
Let's get it.
I was stuck in the mud.
All right, so
That's it. Story ended. Okay.
yeah, so I like to think of my loader as like a D11, big motherfuckers. And then I was trying to help Luke strip the topsoil. We got over there, and then I don't know. I just went a little too deep.
The next thing I know, I was just
The same
too deep.
creek. I was in shit creek. I was pushing, and I was like, wow, I'm not pushing anymore. And I started sliding.
My tires are spinning.
Like, well, I'm not going anywhere right now. And then I tried going forward and reverse, and then I'm like, fuck, I gotta call Matt.
That's not gonna be good.
And then we
make
hear
fun
on
of
the
him.
radio, boss, I
Matt.
stuck.
I stuck.
Matt, I'm stuck. He's like, what the fuck? He comes over there, looks at me, he's like, let me go get the hoe. I'm like, fuck, okay. And then after that, the same day, hold on. And then I get stuck again. Like, I'm gonna go park the loader. Like,
Yeah.
I park it right next to the creek, and then all of a
just
sudden,
sinks?
all of a sudden, the loader goes like this.
Oh no.
So I'm over there going forward and reverse again. I was like, fuck, all right.
I'm stuck.
And I was like, fuck, I just gotta call him. So I call him.
It was the same day, right?
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
scared.
Same day. I'm like, fuck, I gotta call Matt now. I
He
tried
just left with the hoe, and now he's got to bring it
I
back.
tried everything. I tried to like put my bucket down, scooch out. No, it didn't work. I just kept sliding more deep into the mud, and then
You didn't try the little wiggle motion?
Nothing.
No.
this mud was mud.
Well, in that Texas clay, man, I tell you what.
mud. This shit was deep. Yeah, Luke had to come pull me out. And,
At least you didn't have to shovel tracks.
Hey, there you go.
No, we made him. We made him.
Oh yeah, he shoveled the tracks.
oh, I shoveled.
He had to shovel his loader off too.
Yeah.
Because
Oh
I'm a
yeah.
responsible operator.
There you go. All that mud up in that wheel well.
Yeah, they call me the hand man.
Oh no. Move that mic back over to Jace.
You're cut off.
Are you
Cut
the
off.
hand man?
I am the hand.
No, you're not. I am the hand man.
No, it's fingers, man.
Oh no.
Yeah, you call Jace fingers. He's not a whole hand like me.
I'm the thumb. I'm a thumb. I'm short and stubby.
I'm gonna have to.
Thumb.
I'm gonna have to bleep out the entire ending of this podcast. All right. Well, I mean, we got a lot of good stuff just as far as talking about it. I think that's what the ultimate goal of these podcasts, just come in here and kind of BS about construction and the blue collar life and drink some booze and hang out and chill. So I appreciate you guys coming on, and we're kind of running up on time. I don't want to make it too much further than an hour. We're at an hour and 11 right now, so might as well cut it. You guys got to get back to your ladies anyway, except for Javon. He's single, ladies.
My phone's blowing
I'm
up.
going home to a cat. And a dog.
And a dog. All right. Well, anyway, so Matt, thank you. Luke,
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Jace.
Thanks for having us.
Javon, it was interesting.
We'll be back. Part
Yeah.
2.
There will be a part 2, and
Date update.
yeah, second date update.
97.9.
Should we call this one in and explain why we aren't going on another date with Javon?
It didn't work out. It didn't work out.
If you're from, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Right?
He's stuck in the mud.
He's stuck in the mud. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for listening, guys. This was Built on Blue Collar podcast, and I have these songs built in. I don't know which one I'm picking, so
Oh.
none of these are working. Oh, wait. There we go. Thanks, guys, for watching or listening or whatever the hell you guys are doing. See you next time on the Built on Blue Collar podcast.